Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Group Chat. We have an exciting week.
Woo!
Number 1, sports gambling is about to be legal.
Yes.
Number 2, is college even worth it? We'll see. And number 3, free speech is dead on the internet. Group Chat. Let's get into it. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Group Chat. I am your co-host, Drama. I am the founder, co-founder, and CEO of Young and Reckless, and the host of the Short Story Long podcast on iTunes and everywhere that podcasts are. And this is Dee.
My name's Dee Murthy, and I like that you said, correct yourself and said co-founder.
I like to give credit where credit is due.
Thank you.
I don't need to walk around like I'm a one-man band.
I'm co-founder of the Menlo Club and co-founder of Young and Reckless.
Ah, look at that. Let's get into it, Dee. We have an exciting week as always.
You have an exciting week.
I have a very exciting week, a very exciting day.
So you are recording today your 100th podcast for Short Story Long.
That's correct.
I didn't think you would make it.
Woo, I didn't either. Thank you for the support, though. Glad to know my co-founder has my back. Yeah, I didn't either. In my mind, I really thought like this would be like a fun little project, and my goal was make it a year.
Yeah. What was your reasoning to do the podcast? And be honest. Don't give me the crap reasons.
No. The real reason is because, so I was on TV for years, which is really cool because you get to launch a fun brand and have a lot of fun. The bad thing is I was on TV for like a character that didn't really represent myself, right?
Yeah.
So I had all these followers, I had all this social media, all this stuff, but none of the content was in line with what I was actually doing on a day-to-day basis.
Did you feel like you were acting on reality television?
1,000,000%.
Wow.
And I felt
so
like it was
not real.
Well, let's not be ridiculous. I felt like I was acting, and I felt like I was building a following that was not scalable. Like after reality TV's done, I didn't want to just go do more reality TV. So there's nothing I can do with that, right? So I just wanted to put out content that was in line with what I'm really into.
Yeah.
And that, the easiest way, the first way to do that was a podcast. I thought it would be a fun little project. I thought it would be something cool to do. It ended up turning into like a bigger thing than I thought, and the following got bigger than I thought, and the amount that I've learned and the connections I made and all that stuff was better than I thought. And it's something that I can turn into, now I'm getting called to take meetings about potential TV shows again and all this stuff, but more in line with what I actually like, only because I created the foundation myself, and then somebody else can kind of help me scale that to the next level. But
how hard was it? Like, obviously, you had heavy hitters like myself in your first podcast.
Yeah, I was nervous.
But what was, obviously, I'm guessing when I did it, it got very little downloads.
At the time. But then it caught up.
So what was, two questions. What was the breaking point where you finally were like, holy crap, who was the guest that made that happen?
Yeah. I think the guest was probably Kevion.
Yeah.
My friend who now is like, became my friend from that podcast. But I think the reason why was because he also does like life coaching, personal development stuff. And the way that he was talking in that podcast, it just got like crazy numbers way beyond anything else. And he's not famous. He didn't get it because of his social media following. And I think that's also kind of a turning point when people started saying, oh, there's real value that I can get from this thing. And it started building. But I mean, then I was able to do Kyrie Irving and DeAndre Jordan and all these people. Rob.
Tim Ferriss.
Yeah. And so,
what was your favorite guest that you enjoyed but maybe didn't do as well? It could have done well, but I'm more like where you were like, damn, I can't believe I'm doing this.
Well, I think kind of the Kyrie one probably. Yeah. And actually that didn't do as well as you would think that it would have, because I don't have like a basketball following.
Yeah.
But even though I've known Kyrie for so long, I think that it was cool to be like I'm sitting here interviewing him for 2 hours, and a lot of people would die to have this opportunity.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I'm able to take I had all these relationships for years from handing out clothes and from getting people to wear Young and Reckless, but it allowed me to take those relationships and kind of do something else and next with that relationship. Yeah. So that one felt pretty cool.
What else?
Kevion was the response. I said he got a huge response, but I didn't expect it.
Yeah.
And that's why it was so cool to me, because it was the first time that I realized that people were actually listening.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to be honest, coming from reality TV and then coming from marketing a pop culture clothing line, my whole life kind of became like revolved around who the person is and how many followers they have. And that's all that really mattered. The substance didn't really matter.
Yeah.
And so hearing people really pay attention to a story and get value out of a story, I think was like, oh, like people are listening, and that's cool.
And what about, what was like the reason to continue going on? Like, what's your goal with the podcast?
My goal, I honestly think that this is what I've always said from the beginning, and now I believe it more than ever. The podcast is going to be like what sparks me becoming the next version of myself, right? Whether that ends up being some sort of public speaking type things, a TV show about helping young entrepreneurs, a book, whatever that ends up being, it's all going to be because I just had the discipline of doing a weekly podcast, right? So, and I also think that all of those things that I do will then just come back and make the podcast even bigger. So I think that it'll be this kind of revolving thing, right? And I think that at this point, the biggest thing is this. I've learned so much from doing it that now I can't stop. Meaning the relationships, the book recommendations, the changing your diet, I mean, I got motivated to start working out. All this stuff really came from having those conversations. And you know me, I'm a pretty antisocial guy. And what I didn't realize is this would give me an excuse to force myself to sit down once a week and have a 1 to 2 hour conversation with somebody who's interesting and who's doing cool stuff. And the value of that is like through the roof. A lot of people do it naturally. You do it more naturally. But for me, it became an exercise, and it sort of snowballed into all these other things. So I think it'll just be a piece of what I do. I think that when you look at me in like a couple of years, it'll be like, oh, he does these successful businesses, and he also does this podcast, and he had that show, and he does these different things.
What about the format of a podcast? So there was an article that came out this week. It said Apple has now topped 50 billion podcast streams. And those that don't know, it launched on iTunes in 2005. Where are we in the podcast era? Like, are we still, is it mature or is it early?
Super early.
Got it.
It's mature enough that, like, if you notice now, literally, I just hadn't checked the top charts in a while. If you go now, it's like Netflix has a show.
Yeah.
And like Bloomingdale's or somebody has a show. Hypebeast has a show. Everyone now, it's just a piece of, it's kind of like you can't have a business or a thing without an Instagram.
Yeah.
It's starting to become you can't have a business or a thing without a podcast. And I think that that's really cool, and that shows the progression. But like the actual infrastructure of it is still so new and crappy. And like the analytics that you get.
The tracking is trash.
It's trash. I don't know exactly who the people are. I don't know age range. I don't know any of that stuff. I don't know when they came and left. iTunes just started letting you track when people are turning it off, but that's very new. I don't know how many subscribers I have. I don't know any of that stuff. And the ad process is still very like, it hasn't gone very mainstream, meaning like I'm technically signed to William Morris. They don't know how to sell ads on my podcast. They don't know how to scale my podcast. They have no idea.
What are you doing, William?
William or Morris and anyone there. So they don't know. Like it's still like there's kind of these like rogue agents that can go get you deals with all the people that
I know
do
a lot
it.
of those guys.
I know you do. They'll introduce you to Dee from 5-4 Club and like ZipRecruiter and all the companies that just do it. Yeah, but it's not like, a lot of companies also aren't allocating budgets to advertise on podcasts. That still hasn't happened.
I also read this thing. So the person that listens to podcasts on a weekly basis listens to an average of 7 podcasts per week.
That's a lot.
And that even better, podcast listeners listen to all or most of 80% of podcasts once they start them.
Yep.
This is the most engaged audience in the
and
world.
It's mind-blowing because what people don't realize is you're listening to usually 1 or 2 people talking to a microphone.
Yeah.
Like there's no like of the cheap entertainment, right? It's not music, it's not whatever, there's no visual. It's literally 2 people on a microphone having a conversation. And if you can sit and listen to people do that for 2 hours, not only are you so engaged, but you really start to connect to that person. You know what I mean? Like you really feel like you know that person. And I'm sure when you guys first started doing podcast advertisements, that's why you saw such a good reaction. Because if you hit the right audience, sports, older guys, whatever, they really listen to what Brendan Schaub is telling them to do. Yeah. You know what I mean? Not like an Instagram post, like you might scroll, you might not.
I think the challenge with the podcast industry is discovery.
Yep.
Like I still don't understand how people are discovering podcasts from other than big publishing platforms or celebrities.
It's the exact same as books.
Yeah.
So like you hear about a book you like, somebody makes you read it, you listen to it, right? Maybe Joe Rogan. And then Joe Rogan has Sam Harris on. And so you go listen to Sam Harris's, and then he has this and he has that.
The multi-level marketing.
Yeah, you just go through the process. That's why I've noticed if I do a podcast on somebody else's show that has a really big following, nothing else helps my follower base like that, because they're already podcast listeners. They're just waiting for the next thing to add into their list.
Got it.
But if you go on YouTube and do a show and say, go listen to my podcast, they're not going to jump platforms.
Got it.
Right?
So it's like a rapper doing a feature. You got to just hop on as many records as you can. You got to 2 Chainz it.
You got to 2 Chainz your butt off.
Yeah.
And and then as a listener, you got to just pick one, try it, and you'll go down the rabbit hole.
Yeah.
That's why these podcast listeners, like, they are addicted podcast enthusiasts.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, they're not listening to some music for a while and then just checking out their favorite podcast. Like, they are podcasting all day.
Yeah.
Consuming.
It's awesome.
It's a really cool thing, but I think it'll grow. I think that it's going to obviously become way more like solid, and the tracking system and the ad dollars and the whatever, but
it's pretty unsophisticated for how influential it is in popular culture.
Yep.
At least with amongst the younger folks.
Yep.
Just buying ads is a pain. Tracking, discovery, like the platform, even iTunes as a discovery platform is not that strong.
No, not at all.
Like I want to get into more podcasts,
Yeah.
and I just get stuck on Joe Budden's and Breakfast Club because like I can't find any. And I bet you there's stuff
there is
that I can't
There's a
find
ton.
outside of Joe Budden's and Breakfast Club.
which is so crazy. But yeah, I think that it's essentially what YouTube is to TV.
YouTube is incredible at discovery.
Agreed. But I'm just saying the
recommendation.
platform. The platform essentially is killing. Like, I would say that what's interesting is YouTube, Netflix, whatever, all these places are killing TV. I think podcasts will just destroy like any sort of talk radio.
Well, what about even books? Audiobooks is even seeing a boom because people are getting used to hearing the book over reading the book.
Yep. But it's almost the same thing. I think the same people that are listening to podcasts are listening to audiobooks.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, let's see. Today's episode 100. It's me, Kevion. I wanted to bring back my biggest guests.
Okay.
So me, Kevion, Tom Bilyeu, who's just a wizard, and my cousin Robbie Dyrdek.
Awesome.
And we're just going to have it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to say, listen, you guys were some of my biggest guests. You gave some of the biggest advice. I want to ask you guys just the biggest questions. What does success mean to you? What is everyone missing? If you could teach one new category in school, what would it be?
Oh, awesome.
How would you know what I mean? And just kind of get this group, almost have like a bit of a board of advisors for young people trying to find success.
That's amazing.
So we'll see.
Can't wait.
Should be good. Okay, let's keep it moving.
Yeah.
Gambling's legal.
I can't believe it.
We made it.
I stopped gambling and it became legal.
I have a feeling you'll be back.
I'm definitely coming back now that it's legal, because not that it ever prevented me before, but for 10 years I was an avid sports gambler.
Yep.
And I obviously, I'm terrible.
Yeah.
I can't pick a winner.
No.
Which is so odd. The amount of
But
games.
that's gambling.
Yeah.
You're not supposed to be able to pick a winner.
You're supposed
that's
to
what
win
the
once in a while.
built on.
But more importantly, the Supreme Court just ruled this morning that states can now regulate gambling.
Like weed.
Exactly like weed. This to me is revolutionary for the sports industry.
Yep.
I'm very down on sports because I think there's more engaging things to do. Gambling, there's nothing more engaging than your money.
Yeah. It's a whole different thing. Like sports without gambling is like
it's like, so New Jersey was the state that was fighting it, and mainly because things like FanDuel and those types of sports apps are all based in New York and New Jersey, and they were getting shut down because states were regulating them, and then the federal government was regulating them. Now, in New Jersey, sports gambling will be legal as early at racetracks and casinos in Atlantic City by the NBA Finals.
which is
2 weeks away.
2 weeks.
So we're talking about a pretty big moment in sports.
That's huge.
Mark Cuban just commented just now. He goes, maybe going to a baseball game could be interesting now.
Oh, man.
And I mean,
True.
I have a lot of friends who actually listen, who are professional baseball players, and I enjoy going to a baseball game, but it's not as engaging as other sports.
Yeah.
And I think, imagine if you can gamble at the stadium.
Yeah.
Sports has a real issue with attendance going forward. I think attendance is going to continue to drop
Yep.
if the engagement, the experience isn't good for the fan.
Mm-hmm.
If you could just sit there and be like, here's $20 on the game. Oh my God.
It's amazing. Let me ask you this though. What about the downside? Does it not feel like, I feel like gambling is almost as much of a risk as like alcohol?
I would argue that gambling is worse than alcohol.
Okay, fair.
Because it can ruin your life
So here's the question.
in multitude of ways. Because you take everyone down with you. At least alcohol, it's like you're
alone.
down.
Yeah. That's so my question is like, does that increase? Do you think? I just don't know. I know that the argument about like legalizing weed, for instance, right, or legalizing drugs is like, look, people are going to do them anyway. Let's not make it illegal. But no one's getting put in jail for sports gambling. So, it's just harder.
Yeah, so
you see what I'm getting at? So what I'm saying is there an actual negative effect?
Yeah.
Because here's, the theory of drugs, like I said, if you want to take drugs, you're going to take drugs, stop locking people up, instead treat their problems. I don't think that that's the same on gambling, because if you want to gamble, it's actually really, really hard to gamble. So if you make it easier, does that actually increase the problems?
I don't know. Everyone gambles. I don't know one person that doesn't gamble.
Yeah, but you also live in like, you hang out with the rich.
No, I'm talking, your cousin, when LeBron hit that game-winning shot, hit me on Facebook Messenger. I just won $200 cut on that shot. Okay. Everybody is gambling. I'm telling you. You even gambled for a little bit.
Sure did, and I loved sports.
Yeah.
I used to wake up every morning and turn on Sunday football and lose money. Just watch the money drain from my account.
So, look, there's obviously the moral, social element of gambling, but everyone's doing it anyways. Yeah. You might as well tax it, make people accountable for it.
I agree.
And let's see what happens. But you got to also have that support system. Like, it could be a mental health issue too. You know, like the same people whose lives are floundering are the people that are going to go bet on sports and hope to change their luck.
Yeah, we got to put regulations.
But people are doing it anyways. Yeah. People are literally like, screw it, I'm going to go bet.
Agreed. Okay, let me ask you this. How long until does it eventually become federally legal?
I think it's going to be like marijuana, that over time it will. I think New Jersey will happen this summer. Mm-hmm. We'll watch it. Everyone will want to see how it plays out. And then California, you know, in the state we live in, I have a feeling it's a few years away before it comes, because it's not even on a ballot. People aren't really talking about it in California yet. Mm-hmm. But it's going to be interesting, and they're going to roll it out slowly. Mm-hmm. It's like, you know, now today you can walk anywhere in West Hollywood and find marijuana. Mm-hmm. So it wasn't like that, let's say 7 years ago, 8 years ago, when dispensaries started popping up. Mm-hmm. And it started with the medical card, and maybe it just needs to be a slow process. Yep. And you only give it to like 3 locations in LA, and everyone has to go there and make there be some roadblocks.
Yeah. But I feel like it'll happen fast. Like once one state is having more fun than another, all the other states tend to get FOMO, right?
Especially if tax revenue kicks in, because this is going to be big.
Yeah.
Because they'll talk about Vegas bet on a weekend $200 million in NFL football, and then they'll be like, illegal betting was $2 billion. Yeah. Everyone's betting anyways. I don't think people are going to stop gambling if it was illegal. So you might as well make it legal and see what happens.
Yep.
Be interesting to see.
Let's see what happens. It's exciting for us.
Yeah.
I might start betting again.
Yeah, you should. We should all start gambling again.
Why not? It's legal.
Yeah.
That's how I felt about weed.
I'm going to take a joint and place a bet.
Ugh, America. This is America.
This is America. A fat joint and lay too large on a Packers on a Sunday.
Oh, man. This is America. Okay, I'm going to let you take this next one.
Okay.
Because it pertains to you way more than it does to me.
Okay.
It's graduation time for college.
Yeah.
I don't know the feeling. I don't know anything about it. I kind of wish I did.
Yeah.
I wish I had a diploma on my wall.
I lost mine.
There's the example. There's the grass is always greener, right? The guy who didn't go to college kind of wishes he had the diploma. The guy who did doesn't know where his is. What do you think?
Graduating from college is always this exciting moment. And I feel like for those that attend college, it is definitely a turning point in your life. Mm-hmm. It's kind of being released from the womb and going into adulthood. Mm-hmm. It's when you start seeking your own responsibilities and try to provide for yourself.
Would you say that like going to college is almost like the half step to being released from the womb, and then actually finishing is like, all right, now it's real? Is that how it felt?
Yeah, so I think college is actually really interesting is when you're 18 years old, you're actually not mature enough to handle social element of life, situational elements of life, There's a lot of things you're not prepared for at 18. College gives you a nest to develop interpersonal skills, social skills, and develop your mind.
Yep.
And that's where I think there's such an advantage for folks that went to college, is that they develop those skills.
Yep.
Are you learning skills from an educational point of view that's going to make you more successful in life?
Yep.
In certain professions, obviously, like you cannot become a doctor, an engineer.
Yeah.
Maybe you could become an engineer. Actually, I could argue that you can. But a doctor, a lawyer, the amount of effort and studies and information can really only be done in a collegiate setting, right? You need that support ecosystem to make that happen. But for what you and I do for a living, college is becoming very difficult to justify because of the cost. But if the costs were lower, I would tell everyone to go to college. The problem is the cost. These kids come out of a private school, like I went to USC, you're $200,000 in debt, you're 22 years old, your first job you're earning $45,000 a year. How the hell are you ever paying that off?
Yeah, you're screwed.
You're paying that loan. I mean, people my age are still paying their college loans off.
Yeah.
And they're married with kids, own a home.
And that's the good route.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And they make six figures and make a great income. And they're like, yeah, I'm still paying it.
Yeah. Here's my question. Can I ask you a couple questions?
Yeah.
Okay. If you knew that you were going to go into the profession you were going to go and you were going to do exactly what you are doing, and you could go back, would you go to college or would you skip it?
My parents paid for my college, so I would go. Because my parents paid.
If you had to pay for it.
I would not go.
Okay. Now, this is another one. This is a critique I got the other day, which I found interesting, right? Is I talk a lot about how I think college is relatively pointless.
Okay.
I'm not too aggressive, but one thing that someone said when they were talking crap to me the other day on the internet was, yeah, you can say that all you want, but you had to go partner with people who went to college.
Yeah.
Which is a fair argument.
Okay.
My question is, how much of college, other than social, do you feel like you use in what you do today? Because you're a really smart guy, you and your brother both, and I am sort of envious of that. But did that come from natural skills of learning the world and figuring out how to be resourceful, or did a lot of it come from college and I am wrong and need to pipe down a little bit?
So I don't think the information came from college. But that social element is what allowed me to absorb a lot of information. Because like how you had to create a podcast to go talk to someone for 2 hours, I was just doing that because I went to college. And I was forced to room with people that were not like me, but I had to make it work. Otherwise, my time in that dorm would be miserable. That skill set is so valuable in business. Because you're always going to work with people that you don't like or you're not comfortable with. And I think the ability to interact is what college teaches people. You could just tell the social skills of a college person, college graduate versus a non-college graduate. I can name all my friends who didn't go to college and I could point out the social anxieties of their life. You being
Me
one.
and Eric Deluxe.
You, Eric Deluxe. You, my buddy Angelo. You know, think about it. They all have a very similar, but all successful. No one's not successful. It's just that social element.
It is a tool. Okay, let me ask you one more thing. Is there a way, let's say I'm a kid who's 18, I'm going into my senior year of high school next year. I don't have the money to go to college and I don't want to bury myself in debt. And this now seems interesting to me, what you're saying. Do you think there's any way that I could build those same skills? Not paying $200,000 to have to get them?
Yes, absolutely. I think it's by joining organizations, being part of communities that are going to put you in places where you're not with friends and you're with strangers. That's what it is being with strangers. Like showing up somewhere, not knowing someone. I used to force myself to go to networking events in college and graduate by myself. Never went with anyone. If I went with my friend, I'll sit in the corner and talk. If I go by myself, I'm just walking around. I force myself. Joe, what do you do, Joe? And next thing you know it, I've developed how to talk to people. And that's where you can do it, an 18-year-old. But you have to have such self-awareness and it's discipline. Like I got to go talk to 10 people a week.
But I think it's interesting. Like if I was that kid And I was like, man, I'm not going to be able to afford to go to college and I'm screwed. I think it's interesting to be able to kind of take the same thing that all these college graduates are saying, that the real value is in the social stuff. You can go do that for next to free.
It is free.
And so it's interesting. That's really cool for that person.
But you got to do it.
Yeah. Yeah, but yeah. Okay, so then last one, for me at least. Today's my graduation. I just walked off the stage. I'm freshly $200,000 in debt.
Luckily, sports gambling is legal. Take $200,000.
Put it all on the
put it on the king to come back from the Celtics
debt free,
and then you're debt free. You might be rich.
What do you? $200,000 in debt. Had the same experience as you though. Feel good, feel empowered, but don't know what the hell I want to do.
Yeah.
I'm not a doctor or a scientist. What do you tell that guy?
I think you have to develop an interest or a passion first. You can't just say, I want to go and be successful, because I hear that like 22-year-old kids. I just want to be successful.
Absolutely, and rich and all.
Yeah, that means nothing.
Yeah.
I think you need to be passionate. You have to have an interest.
Yeah.
Like whether it be music, sports, books, plants, something you have to be passionate about. Then go work in that industry, that field, start a business, whatever it may be. But you have to have some genuine interest in something. Because just being rich or successful, then okay, sell drugs.
Yeah. Sure, or gamble.
Yeah, start a sports book.
At least you have a chance.
Yeah, I mean, if
20%?
that's all you care about, and you don't care if you do it illegally or legally.
Yeah,
there's 100 things you could do.
Yeah,
but I think you need to have an interest in something, because a lot of people go do that and they'd be like, you know what? I hear mortgage brokers kill it, and then they go waste 4 years being a mortgage broker, but they're not passionate about real estate. And then they fail, and they've wasted 4 years of their life because they were never interested in real estate or arbitraging loans, because that's what that business is. You know, like you need to have an interest.
Yeah. Fair. Anything I'm missing?
Yeah.
Good luck, kids.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, that wasn't bad. That wasn't too negative of a...
No, I don't think it's negative. I just think you need to be focused.
Great. Next up, let's get happy. Now that you just graduated, why don't you go to Spotify and turn on some Drake featuring... Oh, it's on SoundCloud? Lil Baby featuring Drake.
Yeah.
So Drake and Migos are going on a tour?
Yeah.
That's going to be insane.
The 3 amigos. Can't wait.
The 4 amigos.
Yeah, 4 amigos.
When is it coming to LA, and are we going?
Yes.
Okay.
There's 3 dates in LA in October, I think.
What venue?
It doesn't say, it just says Los Angeles. It's got to be Forum or Staples.
Great. That's going to be hot. And then there's a new record on SoundCloud that played on the radio, Lil Baby featuring Drake. Hot. That
Drake verse is so hot. I don't even know who Lil Baby is.
I don't want to diss him and say I don't think anyone does. I don't think a lot of people do. And he actually makes good music.
Really?
And he's actually dope. But
is he Canadian or?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I think he's from like Louisiana or something. I don't know. I might be making all that up. The point is, he's been doing a lot of work, has a fan base, but he just hasn't, I don't think, been able to break through the noise of like the Instagram rappers, right? The Tekashis and the Lil Pumps and all these guys. I think he's going to make a move though. And I think this is exactly...
His verse is hot too.
It is. And I think this is exactly when Drake did the feature with 21 Savage.
And Migos.
And 21 Savage, like last year, he went. And then here he is again. He's getting the street credibility from doing the record with the up-and-coming guy. That guy's going to blow up. Everything is going to go God's plan.
And Drake can rap.
Yeah.
I forget, like, because we always hear the pop songs.
Yeah.
And then he does a full verse where he raps, and he's like, damn, this is good.
Yeah. I'm just ready for that album.
Yeah, it's going to be good. This
is June?
June, yeah. Okay. So I was excited to see a new song and an album coming out. So
when's the tour start?
I think late summer, early fall.
Okay. Moving on?
Yep.
All right, so Drake and Migos are hot.
Yep.
You want to know who's ice cold? Andre 3000.
Yeah.
And that hurts me to say.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm turning my back on like great, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like I feel like I had like these great like people that sort of were a part of raising me, and I'm like, you suck now.
Yeah.
And that's rude. But
well, he didn't really actually even rap I mean, like the other one he sang on. The other one's just a beat. Like
at least Kanye? Maybe
at least Kanye did the scoopity scoop.
Yeah.
And by the way, that's entering the top 100 billboards.
Of course it is. It's a joke. But like Logan Paul just went platinum too. You know what I mean? Let's be honest.
I don't think this song is. So he released 2 songs on Mother's Day. They're on SoundCloud.
Yep.
I gave it a listen. Super disappointed. Maybe it'll grow on me. I mean, the one is a 17-minute song just with instruments, which like...
It's not the time to be so creative.
Yeah.
You know, like we live in like a 10-second window era.
He's feels like a nostalgic artist that just wants to be creative. And we live in a world of like, give me, this is America, and let me get excited about your moment. And I just think, and you know, he just went back, I don't know if he was on Instagram, but he only has one post now, and he posted the song or the image of the song. It just feels like if you're going to be, I wonder in today's world, can you actually just be an artist?
And not an Instagram celebrity?
And not be good on social media?
No.
Okay, then he's finished. Sorry, Andre.
It's a harsh, but maybe true. Okay, moving on?
Yeah.
Sorry, Andre. This is America.
Yeah.
The worst possible thing that could happen to This is America is that it could be made into memes.
It is a joke.
It is now meme central.
I just saw the Carly Rae Jepsen Call Me Maybe, the intro. First of all, it's really good.
It's so good. And I'm
in the
so
dance
mad that I
moves where he's
watched
just
it.
like, I was like, this is amazing.
It was dead on.
It kind of, so look, it's the internet. It's anyone can do everything. So it's awesome that people can just free speech their face off and do it. But it kind of really watered down the message.
It sucks. But I will say this. So I was kind of like annoyed by it over the weekend or whatever. And then I read an article that was actually kind of gave me a different viewpoint of it. And it's like, it's actually good because exactly what he said is happening with his video. It's this little bit of a like, you know,
self-fulfilling,
right? And so I think that he probably is like, see,
I told
this
you.
is America.
Yeah.
Like you did exactly what
I
saying.
gave you the content. And you guys ran with it.
And you did it. And it's causing it to live longer, right?
Yeah.
Like we wouldn't have talked about it again this week had that not happened. I think it's a shame that it happens exactly, you know, whatever. But I'm not going to come in all holy.
I think it's making it a legit pop hit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because all I see is This is America everywhere now on the internet. I hear it playing everywhere. Like it made it a crossover pop culture phenomenon.
Yep. And I would rather This is America memes than like Bad Baby and some other little white girl like fighting in a mall. You know what I mean? Not interested. So we'll see what happens. I think it's good.
Yeah.
At the end of the day. All right, let's get into some business.
Yeah.
Marriott is trying their best, as they should, to compete with Airbnb.
Yeah.
How?
So they are doing a pilot. They're coming up with this concept called Host Maker.
Okay.
In London, they're testing it. And the idea is they know they're losing young people to Airbnbs.
Mm-hmm.
So they're trying to mimic the concept of Airbnb that for extended stays. So Airbnb, where they're really winning is, hey, I have to go to a week to LA. I got to go to a week to Denver or London. And I'm going to save money by staying at Airbnb, get a better location, blah, 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 blah. So Marriott's competing and saying in that extended stay, if you're going 7 days somewhere, very rarely do you say, I'm going to go stay at a hotel because it's too expensive, right? Like to spend $500-600 a night at a hotel, then the room service and this and this. So Marriott's trying to develop a way to attract that customer. I don't know if they have the pricing and the properties to do so, but I like what the CEO said and said, we think the model that Airbnb and these people have built is very interesting, but we think if it was a brand you trust, it could supersede that. So I actually think that's really interesting. But I think the opportunity is Marriott should go into the Airbnb world, like go buy apartments and Marriott them. Like, give us the experience with the soap and the towel. Like, I've rented Airbnbs. I'm like, the towel, the soap. It's like gross.
But even what if they even if you didn't buy apartments or houses, you just made sure, because the same, like there's Marriotts all over the place, right? So do it around where your hotels are, hire some additional staff, and then have them prep the house. So that when you go to a house, if it's co-signed by Marriott, you don't have this weird guesswork of what's going to happen and where the cockroaches are going to be and towels with stains on them, and you have this beautiful Marriott experience at a house. Because my argument is, I think that number one, it's price for those extended stays, but I also think that it's nicer to stay in a house for 7 days or a condo than it is to stay in a hotel. Absolutely. It just feels nicer. I just think if they could do that, they would have...
Because if you got that Marriott stamp of approval on an Airbnb property, then it becomes... But I think the problem is they're trying to get off platform. They don't want to be on Airbnb. They want their own platform for their properties. I actually think Marriott should go make deals with big Airbnb people and, like you said, service them. Because if you got the Marriott... call it housekeeping, Marriott kind of Wi-Fi service, all that stuff. I'd rather stay in a, like you said, a hotel or a house.
Yeah, that'd be incredible.
Like fresh linens.
But at least they're trying. I mean, I will say, like, to make that aggressive of a move, that's what you need to do. Yeah. There's no other way.
Yeah.
So at least they're moving in the right direction.
It's great.
All right.
What's next?
What's next is something a little scary happened.
Uh-oh.
And I'm really against negative messages and negative influences on kids, but I'm more so against censoring free speech.
Yep.
And over the weekend, or maybe on Friday, Spotify removed R. Kelly and XXXTentacion's music from their thing. There's a whole list of reasons why that's a problem. But the main one is these people are accused of crimes and not necessarily convicted, right? The other thing is, if you now stack that up against all the accusations that other artists have had, now how do you pick and choose?
Yeah.
How do you pick and choose what the bar is for actually, because even if you were, let's just say you were accused of, R. Kelly's accused of like peeing on an 8-year-old, right?
Yeah.
But he got charged with, I believe, something a little bit lesser. So where do you draw the line? I don't know. It just opens up this whole thing. And what I don't like, it seems okay to me if you say you're charged with this. We don't condone that on our platform. But accusation seems like real muddy water.
It is a real slippery slope. Not only accusations, but also convicted folks.
Yeah.
I bet you I can go through Spotify, Netflix, Apple catalog, and I'll find people all day, and I'm going to report all of them and say, get them all off the platform.
Yeah.
If that's the game you want to play.
Yeah.
I just think it's actually, I agree with the reasoning why people are doing it, but you can't, the censoring issue is pretty crazy because it's at the end of the day the customer's choice. If they want to support an artist, they should be able to support him. Whether maybe they don't care what that person did or did not do. So I just think, it's so
weird
many,
though. Why would they make such a bold decision? Like just pull them off your platform?
Yeah. You could maybe not feature them, not do this, not do that. Like reduce their, there's a million things you can do to kind of squash them.
Yeah.
Like remove them all from the radio algorithm, so it can never randomly picked up. There's ways, and if people still want to go listen to their music, so be it. That's on them.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I mean, I just think the more and more people start censoring these people, there's going to be new communities and new opportunities for the band.
The rejects.
Yeah. The dark web of like reject YouTubers, musicians.
Felony stream.
Yeah. And guess what? That's going to become a big business.
Yeah.
And I just think that there's so many, like, has Bill Cosby, the Cosby Show, still removed off all platforms?
Not all.
Okay. Is Different World, the show he created? No, I saw it the other night.
I mean, if you went into the list of things he probably had a hand in.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just
Fat
weird.
Albert is Bill Cosby too.
It's weird of all the things that you need to be doing right now and the battle that's going on and all the fun stuff happening over at Spotify, that's a move you would make.
Yeah.
And it's the Instagram just went into an uproar.
Yeah, I just don't think you should be playing that game. If you are, then you better play it all the way through.
Yeah, which means you have 5 artists now on Spotify. Choose from these 5 angels.
Taylor Swift all the time.
Swift. No, never been in trouble in her life. All right, well, we'll see what happens. I have a feeling that they're going to correct. I have a feeling they're going to pull back on that.
I agree.
Next up in Censorland, Facebook.
Yeah.
So they can steal all of our information.
Yep.
But we can't use their information to get some more engagement going.
Yes.
Seems like a one-way street, Mark. Zuck. And so what was happening? They were making these groups to help Facebook groups.
So there was these groups that had hundreds of thousands of members, about 10 of them that got shut down, that were groups about how to game Instagram's algorithm. So you post your picture there. So there's all this like behind the scenes Instagram groups going on where like I get hit up and be like, if you post your picture here, we'll like and comment, get as many likes and comments as you can immediately, and then hopefully the algorithm pushes you to the top. So there's a Facebook group, 10 of them, that had hundreds of thousands of members where people could post and we'd all like each other and comment each other's pictures. They all got shut down because Facebook didn't like that people were using these tricks to create engagement. Remove the algorithm then. Because all this group is not going away. They're gonna go happen on Reddit. They're gonna go happen on WordPress. They're gonna go happen on different forums. It's not going away.
Yeah.
So all you did was remove a crop load of traffic off your platform.
What's annoying about it to me is like you created these algorithms so that you could better make money and sell ads, right?
Yeah.
So you're forcing, like one thing that annoys me so much is when I built a massive following on Facebook for Young and Reckless and myself. Because of being on TV, because of all these different things. And then right around that time that it was kind of at like peak capacity, they started doing all these algorithms and these things and essentially started charging us to
Access
show
our
my
audience.
own audience something, which is pretty insane.
Yeah.
So I get that. You got to make your money. You got to do your thing. But
I actually still don't get that. I think that's
well,
so
I'm saying,
insane.
sure, you're going to hustle us. But what I'm saying is if people are now being smart and resourceful and figuring out ways to still draw engagement and still build things up, you're going to shut them down. It's like, I don't know. It just seems a little, I don't like it.
Yeah, I was super disappointed to see that. And then I was watching the NBA Finals yesterday, and I finally saw the commercial everyone was talking about, where they're like, "Oh, we're sorry, we want family engagement," and they show a family hugging. Get out of here!
Stupid.
Just go back to
dork.
the hamsters running.
Chill out, dork.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? With your stupid little booster seat.
Yeah.
I love that he did all that stuff at his little like hearing and then just
He's
put
sitting
out
on like a 12-inch booster because you're short.
Dork. And then came out with a commercial. Like they didn't really make any changes.
No.
They just did a commercial of like
And
people
now you're
hugging.
censoring.
Like, yeah. Jerks. Anyway, we'll do whatever you want.
Okay.
Because, I mean, they own us anyway. Okay, moving on. Someone who is really here for the good of the people, trying to uplift the people, trying to connect people, has probably, I would say, not a negative bone in his body and is pretty much an angel on earth.
Wow.
Will Smith.
Yes.
He put out a new video
Yeah.
on his amazing YouTube channel.
Yeah.
And he did a story before about meeting Michael Jackson. He did a news story about how he became the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
Insane.
Insane. And this is what I'll say. The Michael Jackson story was cool, but it was better filmed and edited and acted out by him. I think that what actually happened wasn't that crazy, right?
Yeah.
The story of how he became the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air was really good.
Insane. I mean, at Quincy Jones' house, dead broke.
Yeah.
His girlfriend's telling him, "Where do you got to go? Where people is doing things?" He goes, Arsenio Hall show, hanging out at the Arsenio Hall show, gets connected to Quincy Jones, ends up at Quincy Jones' house, has to do an
The part I loved is he's like, do an audition now.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, I don't know now. Like, I could blah, blah, blah. He's like, okay, fine. You know what? Then we'll schedule it. We'll do it in 3 weeks. Well, whatever. And he said, or you can just take 10 minutes and change your life.
Yeah.
And he's like, all right.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
And became the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air in
Yeah.
like some weird moment.
Quincy Jones' house was insane. Brandon Tartikoff just hanging out there. Benny Medina, like the who's who of the world, just hanging out at his house.
His
That's
life
so
is
awesome.
insane. That's why I believe his crazy stories, even though he took him back.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Quincy Jones?
Yeah.
I don't think he lied about one of those stories.
I think he undersold it.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think the powers that be shelved him and made him look like he's insane.
Yeah, they said, listen, old man.
That story
Pipe down.
is insane. If that happened, I believe everything else that happened.
100%. That's less crazy than
Yeah.
JFK being killed by the mob.
Yeah.
Okay.
But you should watch it if you haven't seen
Everyone
it.
watch it. Watch Will Smith's thing. He's doing an incredible job. Last thing. Lil Michaela.
Yeah.
Makes me nervous. Is
Yeah.
that how you say it?
I don't know.
She's probably listening. So Lil Michaela is a robot,
Yeah, so
AI. What is it?
there's a company called Brud, I think it's pronounced,
Okay.
that created an Instagram account of a girl, like mixed race, Brazilian something, called Little Michaela.
Yep. Sounds great.
Cool pictures, cool vibe,
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah, tell me more.
Has over 1 million followers.
Oh, yeah.
And obviously very good looking.
Oh,
Yeah, you
just
like
my
her.
type.
Yeah. But she's fake.
What do you mean?
They literally created an artificial intelligent bot that is on social media gaining traction as an influencer.
Does it talk?
So I haven't spent time really in following or doing it. I saw a few
creepy.
pictures.
It's too Black Mirror.
And so I didn't even know about Little Michaela. I read the article and I was like, we have to talk about it because this is insane.
Yeah.
Because they interviewed some fans and the fan was like, I know it's fake, but I think it's real. You know, like they're towing the line. And ironically, the the project, which has a few $1 million in funding, was started by this kid Trevor that we know socially, who goes by the name DJ Skeet Skeet, who worked with all Katy Perry and Banks and all these artists who have been singing around forever.
Is he a USC grad?
I don't know.
Or Banks was?
Banks was a USC grad.
Keep going.
And so I don't know when or how he started this company, but I saw his name on it, and I'm definitely going to hit him up because I think this is the early stage of this story. There's a lot to learn, but like it feels as though I'm still confused by it.
Yeah.
Like I think people reading the article are confused. So is this fake? Is this real? Like what is going on? And it's probably getting endorsement deals.
I'm sure. Flat tummy tea.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I'm a robot. I don't get fat.
It's actually a great idea. It's better to create fake influencers that you control.
What if you just had an army of fake influencers?
Yeah.
Like in a garage somewhere.
Yeah.
And you're just like, we have so
the
much.
Cool, like get a guy that looks like Travis Scott, but you control him.
And just do a Fashion Nova deal.
Yeah, and then get all the girls, a bunch of girls that look like Kardashians and Jenners.
And just Fashion Nova, millions of dollars.
Yeah.
This is what I think. The good news is I hope that she has all it's not real.
Yeah.
It has all the followers because it's a robot influencer, not that this is the new trend of everyone's going to be following robots. If we get to the point where we are on our phones all day seeing what robots are up to, we are screwed beyond repair.
I saw a headline today on Apple News, how to handle when the robots take over.
Just as
I was like,
it's coming.
And I was like, I should probably learn how to handle myself when the robots take over.
Yeah. I hope not, man. If it gets to the point where I go, like I said, I go home every year for Christmas. I ask my little cousins who they're into. It went from the Justin Biebers and the whatever to like the
Social
Paul
media
brothers, which is, depressing. If I go home next year,
it's Michaela,
and their favorite is little Michaela.
Yeah. Little Michaela is never going to disappoint you.
It is it's a robot. The whole thing is disappointing.
She's never going to disappoint you. She's not going to...
Yeah, you're going to wake up one day and realize you've been following a robot for the last 10 years of your life.
I don't think people care. They're never going to meet Logan Paul. You might as well...
You're never going to meet Michaela either.
Exactly. You might as well follow little Michaela. She's got swag. Good looking.
Don't say she has swag. She's a robot. All right. Well, guys, if you're following little Michaela, I suggest you unfollow and get your life together. Just kidding. We're gonna go work on an army of influencer robots. Anything else?
That's it. Good luck on 100.
Thank you. 100 is coming up in 1 hour, guys. Thank you. Don't forget, like, subscribe, tell a friend, phone a friend, put it in your
tell a robot.
Tell a robot. Spread the message. Thank you, guys.